Everybody up?
We're up.
Ms. Ross, the mayor says they responded at an appropriate time. They say that they met with the family on Sunday because they couldn't agree to meet on Saturday. And he says that they had taken immediate action on Sunday and took appropriate action.
Let me give you the real timeline. I was contacted on Friday by the mother and agreed to come in on a holiday weekend to meet with her because of the seriousness of the allegations. We met that morning in my office right here in the city of Jackson between 10:30 and 11 o'clock. Before the mother reached out to me, though, she had reached out to the commander who had not returned any of her phone calls. Therefore, she reached out to a lawyer. While seated in my office before or around 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, the mother told me that she had his cell phone number. So I instructed her right there to call him. And the chief of police promised that he would meet with the mother that day. He did not. And he did not send anyone to speak to the mother of the family. As late as 8 o'clock, between 8 and 9 o'clock on Saturday night, I spoke with the mother again, and she had not heard from the chief. And while we were speaking, the chief called, and the chief told her that something had come up and that he would see them tomorrow morning. So I am disappointed with the mayor that he has not taken the police chief's phone and looked at his phone records.
And the mayor says that he feels like everything was followed, protocol was followed, and that he's sticking with his chief and what he did.
Well, I'm going to leave it to the citizens of Jackson to make a call on that. But I can tell you that the chief's action fell below the standard in my mind. The chief had this information. He sat on it all day Saturday. The mayor said, well, the chief was out of town on Monday. That's why he was not at the press conference. Well, he was in Jackson on Saturday. He should have responded to this family. If a woman calls you and tells you her daughter has been sexually assaulted and you are the chief law enforcement officer in the city of Jackson, you get up off of your hands or you send somebody right away to get the information. And the chief failed to do it. And he failed the young woman and he failed other women in the city too when he failed to take immediate action. What's going to happen to the next victim? Now, this woman happened to call the chief himself. He said he believes in community policing. Well, he failed because it's not enough to give out your phone number. You got to respond and you've got to show up. And he did not show up until Saturday morning. And after interviewing the victim and her mother for more than an hour at the house, they came here. They believed that they were coming to file a criminal affidavit so that the young man could be arrested. And here you hear the mayor say today that they were waiting for the mother to file an affidavit. I received a text from the from the county prosecutor on Monday, saying that he was waiting for an affidavit to be filed. So we called back to the police department, and this is when maybe the officer had maybe killed himself at that time. We called back, and they told her that she didn't have to file an affidavit, that they were going to file the affidavit. They are lying, and my client is truthful. She has made herself available for every question that they had. When she came down here and she interviewed for hours, she left. She showed them the hotel where the police officer had taken her daughter. She took him to the spots where he parked and sexually assaulted her daughter. And even though she had been in the police department for 3 hours, they called her back yet again on Sunday evening saying, oh, we need to get a copy of the videotapes. Well, she had been in this building for 3 hours.
And they said that they didn't see any. They said that they didn't see any faces.
Saturday.
Give me the time for Saturday again. Is it true that Chief Davis committed to the family that he would meet with them on Saturday?
He committed to the family that he would meet with them on Saturday. And I'm not unprepared to deal with the mayor and the chief. I have documented evidence.
And they said that they didn't take action quickly, I guess, because faces weren't shown in the videos. Is that true?
Well, you know, the mayor is a lawyer, and he knows that a witness's testimony is evidence too. This young woman said to the chief, she identified this man as the person who had sexually assaulted her. Under their general orders, when you're doing an internal affairs investigation or an investigation of this sort, they could have asked for a polygraph. On Sunday when she was here, they did not ask for a polygraph.
So you don't dispute that there's no faces in the video.
Well,
you say that's not really the most important part.
Well, I mean, you know, there are other parts of the officer's body, and I would just say this. I want to express my condolences to the officer's family because I believe that the mayor, if he had acted appropriately, the officer would be alive today, and he would be available to tell his side of the story, because that's what justice is about. It's not just about my client's side of the story, it's about his side too. And we wanted to bring him to justice. And because the police chief failed in his work, we won't be able to do that. But let me tell you this, the young man admitted it. He admitted it.
How did he admit it?
In a telephone call.
To whom?
To the mother. On Sunday, after we left the headquarters, he called the mother.
Is the chief aware of this?
Well, I don't work for JPD. I'm representing my client, but the way things were progressing, I had a feeling that there would be some sort of cover-up, so we wanted to document everything we were doing. We did not want to be on phone calls that people could not later hear.
But the chief said that he tried repeatedly to call your client on Saturday. He wasn't getting.
Ask the chief to show you his phone records.
What happens from here, Attorney Ross?
Well, we're looking at everybody who failed this child, and there are some other individuals, not just the Jackson Police Department, who had information that we believe could have put a stop to this criminal conduct, and they did not report it to proper authorities.
Those JPD officials?
No, there are other officials in the city of Jackson.
Are you
How
going?
is your client holding up and the family holding up? Because, you know, the loss of, you know, suspect.
Well, you know, I think she's holding up as well as could be expected under these unfortunate circumstances. And the bad thing is that the message that this sends to young women who have been victimized in this city is, if I come forward, then people are going to lash out at me. And that's what people have done on social media. She's a 15-year-old. She didn't do anything wrong. And we have the chief repeatedly telling her that she didn't do anything wrong.
The mayor's mentioned flashy headlines, trying to grab headlines. Do you think that was a direct comment?
There's no need to grab a headline. We're here for justice. We're here because a 15-year-old was sexually assaulted in one of JPD's cars at the hands of a police officer who is sworn to protect her. And to the extent that that grabs a headline, it does. But we're not here for that. I sent her to the JPD so that they can do what they are charged by law to do. I stayed out of the way. Let the police officers do the police work, and I'll represent my client. But when you fail to do the police work, then I'm going to call you out. I am disappointed in the mayor that he has not presented the chief's cell phone. I'm disappointed in him that he says that, he never answered the question as to why has this department arrested officers for domestic violence, but here you have an officer charged with, he hadn't been charged because they claimed to my client they were going to swear out an affidavit, and the affidavit still has not been sworn out. And now they want to say we want to continue the investigation. The investigation into what? How poorly you did your job and how you failed the citizens of Jackson. We need better.
You said the mother talked to the deceased Sunday. Who contacted who?
The deceased contacted the mother.
Was this before or after he'd been notified by JPD he was relieved?
Well, we don't have I don't know exactly where in the timeline it was as to when JPD had contact with him. But I could tell you that it was around 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. We were seated again in my office after having shown them the hotel, after having driven them to the place where the assaults took place. We came back to debrief. It was during that time that the young man called and spoke to the mother.
Were you surprised?
He did what?
I was very shocked.
He did what when he spoke to the mother?
He confessed.
How did he sound?
Well, he didn't sound unusual. I mean, it was shocking to me that he would call. But she tried to and did engage him in a short conversation before she received another call, and she had to move on to that call. So, instead of the mayor trying to blame the media and trying to blame the family's attorney, maybe he should try sitting down and sharing information, and then we will know how to approach a situation like this in the future. Maybe somebody else's daughter will be spared.
Do you have confidence in JPD conducting its own investigation into this?
After the mayor's press conference today, and after the chief said repeatedly he called, no, I have absolutely no confidence that they can handle an investigation of one of their own. And that's why every step of the way, almost in dealing with JPD, I was documenting what was happening in real time, because I knew the day would come that we would have someone to try to misalign the victim in this case. It's not her fault, and the chief has told her that repeatedly.
Attorney Ross, you will be taking any other legal action?
I will be.
What would that be?
Well, we're drafting a complaint, and we're suing everyone who we have information on who's responsible, who did not put an end to this conduct when it became available, and when it could have made a real difference.
Going on for 6 months.
Yeah.
Have we been watching it all that time, or did it just bring us and just kind of pop up?
Now, when you say we, who do you mean we?
Like with your client?
Oh, of course not. The moment that anyone brings a tape to me where a young child is having sex with an adult, 911, I'm calling the police, because it's a crime. So for anyone to suggest that this is a setup, that we've been knowing that this was going on, I'm not a conspirator, I'm a lawyer, and I'm here to defend her.
When did the family reach out to you?
On Friday. It was late Friday afternoon, near the end of the day.
Do we know who the precinct commander was that she called? Or what precinct?
Is it precinct 2? The precinct where the officer worked, I think is precinct 2. If you wouldn't have asked me the question, I could have told you. Give me a minute. Maybe I'll come back to you.
Where are the locations that they went?
There's a hotel right behind the Taco Bell on High Street. And then there's an abandoned building out in Jackson, out by the Veterans Home near a city park.
So the hotel behind the Taco Bell on High Street.
Yes.
Can you tell us how that officer first got into contact with your client's daughter?
He met her. He saw her at a service station and asked her name and number.
You know the name of that hotel?
And it's kind of difficult to get in there, but if you go right there at High Street and you go, the service station is here, go in the sideway, the street that runs where is it Graymont?
Yes.
I found it.
All right.
Thank you so much. Can I
Appreciate
get you
you.
to fax me or email me the presser?
Yeah, I will get you that information.
Tell you what, she needs this.
Yeah.
Here, hey,
Okay,
Rosalind,
Rosalind.
you can have mine.
Just get you
Oh, thank you.
just the fact that you can be with this officer.